Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the podcast we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again is my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man? How are you, bro?
Hey, how's it going, dude? Still here. Tuesday night, cold as hell here in Austin, Texas. For those who don't live in Texas and live in a colder state, let us be, because it's cold out here.
It's cold for us, yeah, and
Yeah,
especially after that boring match, man.
yeah,
We
dude.
just witnessed Mexico play the second leg of their two-legged tour in South America.
hmm
They played River Plate, as we know, there in Monumental, Estadio Monumental in Argentina. And Adrian, strike contrast to the game we saw in Brazil against Inter de Porto Alegre. Uh, Everything was different. The
Yes.
atmosphere, the lineup, the formation. And the score, right? Mexico won
hmm
2-0 against Inter, and they ended up losing 2-0 here. Pretty much a match that was finished after the 33rd minute. And River Plate just was too much for Mexico. River, who is really getting close and ready to start their new season, and
hmm
Mexico, as we know, who is full of Liga MX players, youngsters, all trying to get a squad number for the Gold Cup or Nations League, right? So, Adrian, why don't you go through our lineup for today for Mexico? As we know, Javier Aguirre started with a 3-4-3. He started against Inter a 4-3-3. So difference here. What was the lineup, man?
The lineup consists of keeper Andres Sanchez in exchange of Raúl Talarangel, three center backs. I think it's Gerardo Sanchez, Eric Lira, and Victor Guzman. We saw Eric Lira play in the midfield position last match. Jose Castillo, Roberto Meraz, Jeremy Marquez, and Jesus Gallardo as the midfield. Both Castillo and Gallardo playing on last match as well. And then up front, we have Raimundo Fulgencio Raiful on the left flank, Memote Martinez as the lone striker, and then Efrain Alvarez on the right flank.
So a couple of players that started that match against Inter,
Yeah.
that started this match, right? Memote is one, Efrain
hmm
Alvarez is another, Eric
Eric Lira.
Lira, though Eric Lira was more played more centrally defensive this
hmm
time than he started. That's how he ended against Inter, to be fair, as a center back. But here he was playing with center back of a back three. But not a lot of positives, Adrian. We were
No, man.
really high on El Memote against Inter. Memote, to be fair to him, didn't have much support this match.
Yep.
I think we were very disappointed in Meraz, how he played.
Yeah.
And Eric Lira, who had a very fantastic game against Inter, still, I think, had a decent game, one of the few decent players this match. But I don't think any of these players made a real statement in this game.
No, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think there was a huge drop in performance, also in talent. I think I also have to say that the other lineup, I think at times felt a little more used to playing on like bigger stages, I should say, even though most of these guys are had around the same flight time in Primera División, right, in Liga MX. But I think the biggest situation here, man, was the huge environmental factor, right? We all saw the match against Inter de Porto Alegre, where the crowds were, it was a party, it was a carnival, it was a stacked stadium, but it wasn't necessarily a hostile environment for the players. This time around, it was also a packed stadium, and I just felt that. I mean, you could see it on the players' faces that they looked like disoriented or just completely spooked, right? Even the subs when they came in, there was a corner kick where Gilberto Mora came in on the second half,
Mhm.
and just his cross from the corner kick was completely poor. I mean, you can see it on his face that he was just completely out of the zone, just appalled
Yeah.
about the what was going on around him.
Yeah, man. I think you mentioned the subs, Gilberto Mora, who came on. I think one of the subs that I think came on that did decent or did well, who kind of generated peligro in the second half in Mexico's favor. Although by that time, I think River had really stepped off the gas and just were letting Mexico have the ball. But to be fair to him, Santi Munoz, I think he had a decent cameo when he came on. Maybe one of the few players who was not really phased by the environment. As we know, he's
Yeah.
one that has left Mexico. He went to the UK with Newcastle, so he trained in more hostile environments, right? Obviously, he's
Hmm.
back in Mexico now, but I think he was one of the ones that was decent, at least in my book. Um, Coming on as a sub. But yeah, Adrian, I mean, a completely different match. Kind of go through some stats here. River had 13 shots, Mexico had 4. Shots on target, 7 for River, 1 for Mexico. I don't even remember which one that was for Mexico. 68% possession for River, 32% for Mexico. If you look before the second half when River was just giving possession to Mexico, it was like 75 to 25.
Yeah.
655 passes made by River, 306 by Mexico, and pass accuracy 70% for Mexico, 86 for River. So you mentioned the Inter game. Comparing it to this one, I think we just see two different rivals in two different stages of their
Hmm.
pretemporada, right?
Hmm.
River getting ready for next week for when they start their campaign, and Inter de Porto Alegre had just recently stopped there. So a party, like you put it really well, a party in Brazil, serious competition
Yeah.
in Argentina.
In Argentina. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it also doesn't help that River Plate used this match as their presentation of all the big names that they brought back, right? I think they presented, if I'm not mistaken, Gabriel Montiel, who just came back. Um, and they were also doing the introduction of, he didn't play, but Driussi, who also just came back to River Plate. If it's and well, I mean, they have Marcos Acuna, who's also a strong feature in Argentina's top no, well, not top flight, but in Argentina's first team, right?
Yeah,
um so I guess it was just a mix of different environment, way more experienced players on this River Plate squad, and it's these are the kind of stuff that would like to see Mexico getting more experience on, getting more play time. It's nice that El Vasco had this time to
yeah.
look at, yeah, more players, right? I think all in all, maybe we can say that this South American tour was okay. But, all checks and balances, right?
I would take this getting owned by River against Jovencitos any day of the week over playing Guatemala or
Yeah.
Qatar or whatever
Hmm.
in USA, right? This was a
Yeah.
huge learning experience, and for that I applaud La Federación and Vasco Aguirre, something that we don't do a lot of, applauding La Federación, but I think they did well scheduling this and giving a lot of play time to some young guys that don't normally get to
Hmm.
play for La Selección, and there were some standouts. I think Eric Lira did well overall, and a couple other players, like I said, Santi Munoz. I think what's his name? I forgot his name. Montiel did really well.
Yeah, yeah. Elias Montiel is a really, really good
Yeah,
talent for the near future, man.
yeah. So a couple good standout players. Performances. Talan Rangel played well against Inter. So not
Hmm.
a total waste, and definitely a learning experience for Vasco, man. Any closing comments, Adrian?
I mean, well, this is a for what it's worth. I hope El Vasco got to see a couple of players out here that can plug the holes in the first team, right? The normal mentions that you said. Hopefully he's able to remove some of the old guard and put in some of this new guard and invigorate the team towards Gold Cup. I think he realizes that Memote Martinez has to be the third option striker for Mexico. There's no one else besides him for that position. And I know that he's gonna get a lot of criticism. He's gonna get a lot of hot comments from Mexican pundits. But hey, in here, PPG, I think we believe this is, regardless of the scores, a good precedent for the upcoming coaches, right? It's
Yeah,
good to have this kind of camp cupcakes for Mexico because it's a national team that relies heavily on its local league. So I encourage Doña Fede to keep on doing these kind of exercises. It's a good way for younger players to get introduced into the national team.
absolutely. Well, with that, we'll take off. Adrian, where can listeners find us, dude?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Twitter. Sorry, not Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, where we post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes.
Yeah, so be sure to follow us on preferred social media platform of choice, and let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are overall on the South American tour. Do you rate this an A, B, C, D, E, F, Vasco Aguirre, and La Federación, and Mexico? Definitely let us know who are your standout players from these two matches. Are you in agreement with us that those that we mentioned were kind of giving Vasco maybe something to think about moving forward? So let us know in the comments. We like interacting with you guys and reading us comments there. Adrian, good episode. See you in the next one, brother.
Take it easy, man.
See you, man.
Deuce.